All right, here we are with Sergeant Murphy. Okay, you do the Pledge of Allegiance for every parade and every Memorial Day.
Right.
So how did you get such a service and honor?
Come on. You got it.
A good loud voice, and I have it because of no tobacco and very little alcohol.
Okay.
And here I am at 93 years of age.
Wow. So let me tell you, when you were in the Air Force, this was the Army Air Corps, wasn't it?
The Army Air Corps. And we had a when we turned over, it was on the 17th of September of 1947. 17th of September of 1947.
You remember that day specifically?
I remember that day because we were no longer the Army Air Corps, we were the United States Air Force. And we didn't change our uniform to blue for about a year because they couldn't manufacture that many uniforms at that given time.
Oh.
But we all got our uniforms in about a year, blue uniforms.
Okay.
And we had a new name, but the mission was much the same. And we had a huge party. They cleaned out a hangar, polished the floors, and there was food and soft drinks and all kinds of entertainment. The band played all the time. There was dancing, and everybody was having a great time because it was a brand new day in the United States Air Force.
Okay, but I guess when you were in the Army Air Corps, like this is during World War II, I mean the number of like airmen that were lost, and also this is back when they did not have like a rescue wing like you got the 129. So that must have been pretty scary going into such a service and serving at that time.
It was scary, and my mission, I spent an awful lot of World War II at Kingman Army Airfield. I was a low-pressure chamber operator. Now that was an altitude chamber to train the new troops on what they would be facing when they got into B-17s and B-24s, and as gunners, they would be faced with the dangers of altitude. And we had to train them that their oxygen was very important to them. It was the thing that they were going to be, that would keep them alive in the airplane.
Okay, so in terms of high altitude, hypoxia and all that, this is actually relatively new. Back then, all of a sudden, you've got a lot of people flying at altitude.
Right.
So this must have been quite a, just to see all this happening.
Well, most of the candidates they had for gunnery school were young soldiers, 17 to 20, 21, and they were no more than 5.5 feet high, and they were so that they could fit in an airplane and move around in them and become gunners. And they went to gunnery school and shot at targets that were towed by wrens. Women in the Air Force were towing the sleeves that they would fire at. And each gunner had a different colored bullet so that they could say, if there's a lot of red bullets, that was that one gunner. And they had red, green, yellow, and things like that. They all had a different color, but they would be firing at the same sleeve.
Okay. So anyway, so going back, so what does Veterans Day mean for you?
Well, just an anniversary, really. Reminding me of the years that I had spent in the service. But I was in World War II, I spent most of it in the United States of America, no overseas service. But then I was overseas in the Korean War. I was in a helicopter rescue outfit, aviation outfit.
Okay.
And we provided helicopters behind the main line of resistance in Korea, And then if a pilot was shot down on the other side of the main line, they would alert this helicopter and a medic to go in and pick him up and rescue him.
So you're kind of like you're like the predecessors of the 129 Rescue Wing.
Right.
Okay. All right.
So I was overseas in Korea until Eisenhower was elected president. Story about that. I was on flying status at Wheelers Air Base in Tripoli, Libya. Okay. My buddy and I were flying together, and we had the day off, and a brand new aircraft carrier had just come into Tripoli Harbor, the Franklin D. Roosevelt. And my buddy and I sure wanted to get on that aircraft carrier and see it, because we'd never seen a carrier before. So we knew the protocol. You came up in the Liberty boat, you got off the boat, you saluted the colors, you saluted the commander that was on the deck there, and then he welcomed you on board. And then you had free reign of the aircraft carrier. So we landed, went through the protocol, and we're on the hangar deck. But the hangar deck had no airplanes in it. They had flown all the airplanes to Italy because they didn't want them on the aircraft carrier when they were in Tripoli. So we get off and we're on the hangar deck, and we see a line of sailors in the background. And they're all lined up to get their Liberty cards. But the Liberty card was a package deal. Along with the Liberty card, they got 2 condoms and 2 pro kits. It was a package deal. And my buddy and I knew that they would be back on board ship at the end of their Liberty, and they would still have those in their possession. There was no chance they would have any use for them.
Oh, wow.
And it wasn't that there weren't women around. There were Italian women, but they always appeared in 2s. There was never a single Italian woman on the walking around.
Boy,
they always had 2 women together. But the Arab women could be single, but nobody was really interested in the Arab women anyway.
Yeah, I don't think you probably should have gone with them. And
No, that would have been a grave mistake. Yeah. And,
okay.
But let me tell you another story about the Marines. We were on the pier initially, and in come 2 Liberty boats filled with brand new Marines, 50 Marines in each Liberty boat. They took them out of the Liberty boats and put them on the dock. They dressed them up, said right face, and they marched them up and down Tripoli town, up one street and down the other. So they were on the shores of Tripoli, just like the Marine Corps hymn says, you know, from the shores of Tripoli. Well, these were brand new Marines, and they were all on the shores of Tripoli, and they came there on active duty. And that was really a thrill for all those new Marines.
Okay. Oh, great. Well, anyway, let me just kind of wrap it up here real quick again. So here with Sergeant Murphy at the Veterans Day Parade. Okay, thank you, sir.
Not at all.
All
We'll
right.
see you next year.